Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. My name is Heather McCarthy, and in today's video, I'm going to be sharing our read aloud picks for the year 2021 and 2022. Alright, hey guys, as I said, my name is Heather McCarthy. Welcome back, welcome if you are new here. I am a second-year homeschool mom to a 3-year-old little girl. We are doing homeschool preschool. We decided to do it because of the pandemic and have pretty much decided to stay on doing it. So we are doing a Becca preschool, but I do go through and add in read alouds every month. So I'm going to show you today all the read alouds that I picked for this year. And I'm also going to show you how I picked them and how I pick out which books to read. So let's go ahead and get started, and I'm just gonna start with how I pick them, how I organize them, and like the whole process of getting my library books. Because yes, all of these are from my public library. I do not buy them all. I did last year. It was stupid. Yeah. So I 100% rent them all from the library, and yeah, so I'm gonna show you how I do that. So the first thing I did when I was picking out our books was go to Amazon and my local library. So basically I went to Amazon and my library, and I found the books on Amazon, and then I made sure my library had them. To be completely honest, it's because my library's search function is not the best. It's really hard to find books, so it's easier to find them on Amazon. It also tells you the age ranges on Amazon, which the library doesn't, and all that stuff. So I would find the books on Amazon. If I was struggling to find books on Amazon, I would just Google and find blogs, but usually I would just find them on Amazon. So I made a calendar in Google Drive that I will share a link to, a blank one down below. But basically every month of the school year, I picked a different topic. So in July, we have done American Revolution, independence, that kind of stuff. Next month, we'll be doing technology and science, and then I forget what comes after that. We'll get into it and I start showing you the books. But I picked basically a topic every month. Some of them are related to mini units we are doing. Like right now we're doing the Gather Round Independence Day unit. And some of them are just topics that I wanted to read to her about. Being completely honest. Most of them are history because that's just my passion. But you can totally do science-y topics or math topics or anything like that that you want to do. I just picked a topic a month and found 4 to 5 books each month based on that topic. So now that we explained how I did that and that I found them all at my local library, I'm going to go ahead and show you what books we are reading. So I will be popping up pictures of them over here because I'm just going to scoot that way. Because I don't have them all. Obviously, they're library books. Can't check out a whole year's worth at once. And I didn't want to deal with the hassle of getting them all and then returning them all. No, I would forget to return one. There'd be a fine. It would be a mess. So I'm just gonna pop up pictures from probably Amazon in the corner. And if you are looking for any of these books, if you want to read any of them to your children and they're not at your local library or you don't utilize your local library, in the description box down below, I do have a link to my Amazon store. Yeah, I finally got approved for an Amazon influencers account, and I have an Amazon store. So check that out in the description box down below, and I have all of these books linked down there, along with the books that I am currently reading. So if you want to know what I'm reading, look down there. And also anything else that you're curious about, anything you've seen in my homeschool room, anything you've seen me utilize, manipulative-wise or anything like that, go look over there because almost everything I use is linked over there, including, like I said, books that I'm reading, Bible studies I'm doing, stuff like that. It's all linked over there, so go check it out. Links in the description box. But let's get into July. So I have my computer here. This is my spreadsheet. Now, like I said, every month I just picked a different topic. So for the month of July, we did the Revolutionary War. Sorry if you're getting this weird lighting here. My computer's open. It's gonna happen. It's unavoidable. So we did the Revolutionary War for July. We are almost done. We have one book left that we still have open on our table. But for this month, we picked Our Flag Was Still There, The True Story of Mary Pickersgill, which this is the story of the American flag that flew over Fort McHenry, which yes, is technically the War of 1812, but the flag was commissioned during the Revolution. So we put it here. But it basically talks about that flag and the history of it, how it was created, how it was sewn together, how one woman and her team did it. Flew over the Battle of Fort McHenry. It talks about the writing of the Star-Spangled Banner while looking at this flag. And then it goes into what happened to the flag after the war and how it has now ended up in the Smithsonian, which I've actually seen this flag in the Smithsonian, so that's kind of cool. It was a really good book. It was a quick read. I think I read it in less than 20 minutes to my daughter, and it was really, really cute. The second one we did this year was If You Were a Kid During the American Revolution. So this one I was actually slightly concerned about because the age range said a little bit older than I normally pick. When I pick books for my daughter, I usually pick between kindergarten and first grade. Yes, she is 3, but I've always heard with read alouds you should pick about 2 grade levels above their current grade level. So I did pick kindergarten and first grade level books. Plus, honestly, they're easier for me to read. All the rhyming and stuff in like kids books is, I'm not good at reading it. I just have no skill at reading that. So If You Were a Kid During the American Revolution is about 2 cousins who are in Boston during the beginning of the American Revolution. I really thought this was gonna be a bit too gruesome. I thought I might have to stop it, but there was actually nothing. There was very little to it. It's actually probably not a book I would grab again. My husband and I were both like, well, that ended with a womp womp. Like, literally, there was no, I mean, they talked about redcoats, and the redcoats came to arrest the 2 uncles. So the 2 brothers, their parents. The redcoats came to arrest them, and the kids rescued their parents from being arrested by the redcoats. Yeah, so like I said, it pretty much just ended with they rescued their fathers, and then they left the city of Boston, and end of story. I kind of wish I had gotten into a little bit more of what it was actually like to live during the war, not just rescuing your dad from being arrested. I wish I had gotten into actually, you know, shortages of supplies and stuff like that that come from living during a war. But it was a cute story. I'm just not sure it was really what I expected. The next one we have is They Called Her Molly Pitcher, which this is the book that we are currently reading. We just started it yesterday. Obviously, it is about Molly Pitcher. It starts at Valley Forge, and that's about as far as we've gotten. But basically, it's the story of Molly Pitcher and how she became so famous with her pitcher of water. So it is a more wordy, sorry, I'm looking at it to the side as I'm talking. It is a more wordy book than I expected. It has a lot of words and a lot of pages. It's definitely gonna take us 2 or 3 days to read. It's meaty. But it is a good book. It's just maybe better for a little bit older child who has a longer attention span. I think it said it was like 35 pages, but those pages are like laden with words. Certainly not just your normal picture book like what I usually grab. And the next one that we had, which we actually read this one first, was Let It Begin Here. Lexington Conquered the First Battles of the American Revolution. And this book we loved. It was literally an hour-by-hour timeline from Paul Revere's ride through the battles of Lexington and Concord. And it followed the exact steps of Lexington and Concord. It introduced you to some of the main characters and some of the more minuscule characters, some of the minute soldiers that were actually fighting these battles. It was really cute. It was a little graphic. If your children have a hard time with war or death, this is probably not the book for you. Personally, my daughter didn't seem to have an issue with that. There was actually one scene where the soldier was dying. He had managed to crawl home and died on the floor with his wife and child. So yeah, you see what I mean. It's a little graphic, right? My daughter actually kissed the picture and said it's okay and moved on. I don't know if she just doesn't comprehend death yet or if it truly just didn't affect her in a negative way. I'm not really sure. She might not comprehend it yet. Like I said, she is only 3.5. But yeah, if your kids are sensitive, I would be careful with that one. This month, so these are books we have not read yet. In August, I say that like it's already August, but you know what I mean. The next book we are getting are all science and technology based. And this is my husband's unit. I know nothing about this stuff. I am not a science and technology person, but my husband is in IT. So he will be reading these books to her in the evening, probably like bedtime stories, like before bed, he will be reading these. So the first one we have is Thomas Edison to the Rescue. I'm going to be reading the back jacket, what like is on Amazon. So this is a ready to read book. So this should be a really simple read. I like these as read alouds for my daughter because they are informative, but they are also an easy reader because they're an early reader. So this is about one day while Thomas Edison hands out sandwiches on the Mount Clemens Railroad platform, he sees the station telegraph operator's son Jimmy playing on the track. When a boxcar comes rolling toward Jimmy at top speed, it is Tom to the rescue. And the deed is rewarded with some telegraph lessons that will change Tom's life forever. So basically, it is early in Thomas Edison's life before he's invented electricity. And he's now learning how to operate a telegraph machine. This is a level 2 independent reader. So I believe that is for, it says kindergarten to 2nd grade. So it should be a super basic read. And this is one of the ones, like I said, my husband picked. And I'm sorry if you see my eyes going down here when I'm reading like that. I'm reading my computer and I don't want to like hold it like this because that's not cute. So I'm just gonna hold it over here. The next one we got for that month is Alexander Graham Bell Answers the Call. This is about well before Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone. Alec, as his family used to call him, was a curious boy interested in how and why he was able to hear the world around him. His father was a speech therapist who invented the visible alphabet, and his mother was hearing impaired, which only made Alec even more fascinated by sound and vibrations and communication. Naturally inquisitive and inclined to test this knowledge, young Alec was the perfect person to grow up into the age of invention. As a kid, he toyed with sound vibrations and began a life of inventing. So again, it's about the childhood of Alexander Graham Bell and what made him interested in eventually, as we all know, creating the telephone. The next book is about Marie Curie, and this is one of my favorite series of books. I actually own a few of them. It is the Little People books. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. Like I said, I have a picture up here. We have a few of these. I actually found them at my local Once Upon a Child for like $1 each. So we really enjoy these books. They are really good reads. And this one is all about Marie Curie. This starts with her childhood in Poland to conducting pioneering research on radioactivity and going on to become the first woman to win the Nobel Prize. So that is pretty much the story of Marie Curie's life. It's going to go through her entire life in this book. And I'm actually excited for this one because I like learning about Marie Curie. And the next book is Think Smart, Be Fearless, which I believe this is the story of Bill Gates. I was wrong. This is the story of Bill Gates. I thought it was the Apple guy, Steve Jobs, but it's Bill Gates. I was kind of close, right? So this is about the childhood of Bill Gates, on his life's journey full of curiosity, discovery, hard work, and most important, fearlessness, and the inability to see limits. So it starts in his childhood and takes you through Bill Gates' life. This is actually a newer book. Our library actually just got it. This was released in 2019. And then moving into September, we are back to books that I know that I picked and that I can summarize hopefully without looking them up on Amazon. So the first one in September, we are doing Little House books. So we are not reading the whole big old Little House on the Prairie series. We will be doing that probably in 1st grade. I'm still kind of planning that year, but I do want to use the Playful Pioneers, and that uses the Little House on the Prairie books. But they do have a series of shorter books I think they're like chapters out of the original book. I'm not really sure, but we decided to get 5 of those. So we have the county fair, which is about Laura going to the county fair, going to town, which is about going into town, summertime in the big woods. So this is gonna be when Laura's really little and still lives in Wisconsin. We're gonna see what the summer is like in the big woods, whereas in the other books, you see the winter in Wisconsin. And then we have Going West, which is gonna be about their pioneering adventure, leaving Wisconsin and going westward. And, you know, living in a dugout and dealing with wolves and Indians and all that. Yes, I read all the books and I pretty much have them all memorized. And then we also have Dance at Grandpa's. I might rearrange this order to put it into more logical order because obviously Dance at Grandpa's is still in the big woods. Grandpa didn't go west with them. So I'll probably put that closer to summertime in the big woods and try to put them more in chronological order than I did in this list. This was kind of the list of how I found them at our library because our library, these were really hard to find for some reason. But we're doing all of those in September. In October, we decided to do Columbus and Native American Indians. So this is where I come up with a little disclaimer. This is what I have chosen to teach to my very young daughter. If you have chosen, who's sneaking in here right now? If you have chosen to teach something different, if you've chosen to teach something else about Indigenous people or about Columbus, or if you decide to omit Columbus, that is your decision, Madison. That is your decision, but I've decided to teach it. So the first one we have is You Wouldn't Want to Sail with Christopher Columbus. And this book is about, sorry, I'm going back to Amazon. And my daughter's stuck in. If you hear jumbling, she's pretending to be a dog in the corner. You Wouldn't Want to Sail with Christopher Columbus. And this is about a poor boy living in Spain who dreams of exploring the world by sea. This interactive series will enthrall young and reluctant readers by making them a part of the story, inviting them to become the main character. So basically you get to kind of become this main character in this book. It almost sounds like it might be kind of like a choose your own adventure book. I haven't personally held it and looked at it yet, but this looks really exciting. It is for a bit older. It says ages 8 to 12, which is a little bit older than I usually get. I really struggled with finding books about Columbus for her age range. And the second one I picked is The Discovery of the Americas. This is a really, really pretty book. The cover of this is absolutely gorgeous. And it is all about crossing the Bering Land Bridge, 20,000 years of traveling and discovering Americas and into the arrival of the Europeans. So it's more not Columbus-y, but discovery of the Americas throughout history. The next one I am actually still torn on, and this is Encounter by Jane Yolen. I liked the review, the synopsis of it, but then I read some reviews of it that make me a little bit more hesitant. So if you have read this book, please comment down below and let me know what you thought of it. But yeah, Encounter by Jane Yolen, and this is when Christopher Columbus landed in the island of San Salvador in 1492. It's what he discovered there, aka the Taino Indians, told from the perspective of a young Indian boy. So, I don't know. I think that sounds really interesting, but some of the reviews I read were that it was pretty much rewriting history. So tell me if you read this, what you thought of it, if you thought it was appropriate, or if you thought it was rewriting history. Let me know. Oh, I don't know. I might have to go get it for myself and just read it by myself. The next one I have is a picture book of Christopher Columbus. Obviously, October is Columbus Day. That is why I picked this topic for October. And this is just a plain old picture book of Christopher Columbus. It literally doesn't even have a description. It says his historic voyage and experiences in the New World in pictures. So I thought that would be really fun to look at with her. It is from 1992. It's a wicked old book. Yeah, I struggled. Like I said, I struggled to find Columbus books for her age and books about the discovery of America for her age. I don't know why. All of them were just a bit older. And the last one I have is Christopher Columbus Stepping into Reading. As I said, I really appreciate these little readers to read aloud to her because they are easier reads. I feel like she understands them better. and they're quick and easy. They're not as painful as some of these like 50-page books. So this is Step Into Reading Level 3, and it is independent readers can learn about Columbus's faithful voyage in this dramatic, easy-to-read account of the pivotal moments in American history. Okay, if you hear a trash truck outside, I apologize. I stopped for a little bit because they were driving by, but they've now driven by like 3 times. So if they come back, I apologize. So into November. In November, obviously our category is Thanksgiving. We will also be doing the Campfire Curriculum Thanksgiving mini unit, which I have the one from last year and they are coming out with a new one this year. So I will put a link to their curriculums down below. We love them. And we're planning on doing the one from last year because I already have it and we haven't used it, so we're gonna use it. So the books that I picked to go with this unit are Balloons Over Broadway, which I also have a mini unit from 5 in a Row that I will link down below. It was like a $10 little thing from 5 in a Row. And this is all about this book, Balloons Over Broadway. And the book is about the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade and the creator of the first balloons for the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. So it takes you through, his name is Tony Sarge. He is a puppeteer extraordinaire. It's gonna take you through his life and pretty much what made him design these puppets. So that is our first read aloud for that month. And then we have Mayflower 1620, a new look at Pilgrim Voyage. Yes, this one's for ages 8 to 12, so again, a little bit older, but she will be a little bit older. I don't know. We're gonna try. So this is about Plymouth Plantation, and National Geographic Society have come together to tell the true story behind the legendary voyage of the Mayflower. So it's just gonna take you on the Mayflower through photos, it is vibrant photography of a rare reenactment of the Plymouth landing. It takes you through some of the exhibits in Plymouth, Massachusetts. I have been here. I grew up in New Hampshire, if you are unaware. So I have been to Plymouth Plantation. I've probably seen a lot of these exhibits. So I think this book's pretty cool. She might not like it much. I'm not really sure, but we'll see. The next one is Sarah Morton's Day, a day in the life of a Pilgrim girl. So I actually remember reading this one when I was a kid, I believe. I might be making that up, but I think I remember reading this. No, it says 2008. I wasn't still in school. But it's basically following a little girl named Sarah Morton through her day as a pilgrim. There was definitely a similar book when I was a little kid where we followed pilgrim children through their day. But this is a best-selling photographic Thanksgiving picture book. But it does say for ages preschool through 8 years old, so ages 4 to 8. And it just follows this girl, Sarah, through her day. And what they had to worry about seems like she makes breakfast, she feeds the chickens, she learns letters and scripture. Sarah is worried about her new stepfather. Will she ever learn to love him? So some of the challenges that face pioneer children, including, I'm assuming death. I'm assuming her dad died. And growing families, meshing families. So that is one of the books. Okay, so the next one, sorry, trash truck again. The next one is Thanksgiving on Thursday, and this is a Magic Treehouse book. I've seen a lot of people talk about these books. Obviously they came out when I was like in high school, so I have not read them myself, but this one is about Jack and Annie go back in time to the first Thanksgiving. It is a bit of a longer book. It is almost 100 pages, so I actually have this marked off to read for 2 weeks instead of just one. That's why we have less books this month. But it does say ages 6 to 9, so I'm okay with that age range for her. I'm excited to read this because if this series, if we like it, there's a lot of really cool books. So we're gonna try this one and see if we wanna read more in the future. If you've read the Magic Treehouse books, comment down below and let me know how you like them for your kids. And then we're on to Christmas, which we will also be doing the Campfire Curriculum's Christmas unit, which I also already have. I bought their bundle at the end of last year. They had a sale in May selling their whole first years of curriculum. So I bought that. That's why I have them all. I didn't just buy them all. But the first one we have is a classic. It is the Polar Express. If you don't know the Polar Express, go watch the movie. So we will be doing that. My husband actually got that last year for a Christmas gift on the New York, or 2 years ago on the USS New York. That was one of their Yankee swap gifts, and it was what he got. So we will be reading that one. And then we also have A Little House Christmas, which are holiday stories from the Little House books. I'm so excited to read this one. I think it's gonna be so cool. As I've already said, I love the Little House on the Prairie books. They were one of my favorites as a child, and I'm excited to share them with Madison. Then we have The Legend of the Poinsettia. So my goal was kind of to do a little bit more of Christmas Around the World, which I do want to find a mini unit on that one year to do Christmas Around the World. I know Gather Round is coming out with one, but I've tried multiple Gather Round units and they just don't really work well for us. So I'm gonna hope somebody else comes out with one soon, or that I can find one on Amazon or Teachers Pay Teachers. But this is The Legend of the Poinsettia, which is in Mexico. And the poinsettia is called, I don't speak Spanish, so I'm going to skip these words. It's the Mexican name of the poinsettia, and it is the flower of the holy night. At Christmas time, the flower blooms and flourishes, the quite exquisite red stars lighting up the countryside. So it's about poinsettias in Mexican culture. I think it looks really interesting. So we're going to read that. And then we have another classic, The Nutcracker. Again, if you don't know it, go read it. Go rent the movie, something. So we're going to be reading The Nutcracker with her this year. We're going to be reading Christmas Around the World. I believe it was the Mary Langford one. There's a lot of books with the same title. I believe it was the Mary Langford one that we found at our local library. And this just takes you from Ethiopia to the Philippines to Sweden and teaches you all the different Christmas traditions around the globe. So like I said, I've been really looking to do Christmas Around the World, and I'm glad we found some things that can do that. Then the last one is Christmas in America, which this is an Ellis the Elephant book. If you haven't seen those, they are really cute. They're written by Callista Gingrich, so Newt Gingrich's wife, and they follow an elephant through American history. My daughter is obsessed with elephants, so we actually have this whole collection, and it is actually going to be the month of January. But we are starting with Christmas in America at the end of December. So this is all about Ellis the Elephant. This is the 5th book. Ellis discovers the meaning of Christmas and learns how the special holiday has been celebrated throughout American history. So then in January, as I said, we are doing the rest of the Ellis the Elephant books. So I'm not going to go into the details of what all of these are about. I'm going to say the titles. I'll show pictures of them. Most of them are pretty self-explanatory, and you can look them up. As I said, they are all linked in my Amazon store. I'm going to start trying to go a little bit faster because I found this is going to be a really long video if I keep reading all these descriptions. So I'm going to stop doing that. So the Ellis the Elephant books that we are using in January, we have Sweet Land of Liberty, Land of the Pilgrim's Pride, Yankee Doodle Dandy, From Sea to Shining Sea, and Hail to the Chief. So as I said, this whole collection of books follows Ellis the Elephant. Do you see this? Follows Ellis the Elephant through American history. So Land of the Pilgrim Pride is obviously about the Pilgrims. Yankee Doodle is about the Revolutionary War. Sea to Shining Sea is westward expansion, I believe. Hail to the Chief is about the presidents. And then getting into February, we again chose the topic of elephants, because as I said, my daughter does love them. So here we will do Ellis the Elephant, Remember the Ladies, because I just had one extra book, and so I just do it on the next month. So this is all about the First Ladies. And then we have the Elephant Friends and Other Tales from Ancient India, which is elephant stories from India. That looks really cute. So we're doing that. We're doing Horton Hears a Who, which if you don't know Dr. Seuss, you're not American. If you don't know Horton Hears a Who, I don't know what to tell you. Go Google Horton Hears a Who. And then the last one is Not To Me Takes the Lead, which is a book about Indians. It's a book about elephant migration, and Not To Me is the leader of the elephant migration. In March, we will be doing the Civil War for our topic. And this first book I am so excited about. So the first book is The Silent Witness, A True Story of the Civil War. And this book is, I'm actually pulling it up on Amazon because I cannot remember this girl's name, but it is based on a true story at least, if not a true story. So this is The Silent Witness, which is all about, okay, so I'm gonna say this is at least based on a true story. Sorry, now that I'm rereading the description. It seems to be based on the story of Wilmer McLean, who lived at Bull Run in Virginia, and his house was one of the houses where the Civil War started, the first battle of Bull Run, and he actually had a cannonball come through his roof. He moved his family to move them away from war. Basically, the war followed them. They went to Chancellorsville and Charlottesville, and they end up in Appomattox Courthouse. Yeah, so if this is the story that I'm thinking it is, the surrender of the Civil War, Appomattox Courthouse, you know, where they signed the surrender, was signed on the dining room table of this family. The description on Amazon doesn't share all of that, and it doesn't share the little girl's name or her father's name. So I'm just gonna say I believe that that is this story, and it's amazing. And if you are ever in Northern Virginia, you can go to both McLean houses. There is still the McLean house in Bull Run, and there is the Wilmer McLean house in Appomattox, which again was where Lee and Grant met to sign the end of the Civil War. And this is why I need to be a homeschool mom, because I'm a complete history geek and can rattle off random ass facts like that. Excuse my language. So the next one I have is Pank and Say, which is about two Union soldiers going through the war. One is black, one is white. Then we have The Eternal Soldier, the true story of how a dog became a Civil War hero. So if you've been around my channel, you know we love our dogs. So this one really stood out to me, that a dog fought in the war, which, I mean, it makes sense. Animals have fought in almost every war, but I don't know, thought that was, it just sounded really interesting and something that my daughter would enjoy. Then we have If You Were a Kid During the Civil War. Same thing as if you were a kid during the Revolutionary War, except during the Civil War. I'm probably gonna look at this one before I get it and see if it's actually something we wanna read, since we weren't so enthralled with the Revolutionary War one, but we got that. And then I also have If You Lived at the Time of the Civil War. And this one I actually have. Let me grab it, I'll be right back. This one I actually have. We got this when we were in Savannah. It was on clearance for like $3, so I went ahead and grabbed it, because knowing obviously we'd be teaching the Civil War eventually. But it just takes, it does have a lot of words. So we might pick and choose chapters in here and then just revisit this when she's a little bit older. But it just takes you through what were the Confederate states, what were the Union states. Let's see, here's all the list of topics. When was the Civil War fought? How did it start? Why did the Southern states leave? Which states left? Which states stayed? Who fought in the Northern Army? Who fought in the Southern Army? What were the armies like? Would you have seen a battle in the North? Would you have seen a battle in the South? Did your home life in the North change? Did your home life in the South change? So this sounds more like what I was hoping the If You Were a Kid During would sound like. Showing kids' lives and how they would change in different parts of the country. But yeah, it didn't show that. But this one does, so I'm excited to at least flip through parts of this. And I've actually seen people use a bunch of these. There's a whole series of these if you live during whatever. There's a whole series of these, and I've seen a lot of people use them for like entire history curriculums or as add-ons to their history curriculums. So I might do that in the future, but we decided to try one out this year. Next, we are doing the Titanic. So if you saw my June Campfire Curriculum, not Campfire Curriculum, I'm sorry, Gather Round Oceans Plan With Me, and then my Oceans Review, I will link them both up above if you haven't seen them. But we read a book about the Titanic during that curriculum. We read the Titanic, I don't remember what it was called exactly, but something about the Titanic. And my daughter actually really enjoyed it. It was the one book for that unit that I would say she sat there and paid like diligent attention to me. So we decided to do an entire month on the Titanic and see if it still interests her in the same way. So the first one I have is If You Were a Kid Aboard the Titanic. Sounds interesting, right? And then we have the Titanic Bear. which this is actually written by a Titanic survivor about a little boy and his stuffed bear in surviving the Titanic. So this was actually written by his mother, and it was basically a Christmas present for this little boy one year, and it was a story of how he survived the Titanic. Yeah, how bone chilling is that? Like, I literally just got goosebumps even saying that out loud. So we'll be reading that one. We'll be reading The Titanic, which is an American Girl Real Stories from My Time book about Samantha from the American Girl series. So we will be reading that for 2 weeks because it is a longer book. It's about 100 pages, but it's basically about Samantha's aunt and uncle and her friend Nellie, I believe, are on the Titanic. And this is Samantha basically hoping they're okay, wondering if they're okay, seeing the news of what has happened in her time, basically. And the last one we have is Inside the Titanic, and it takes you through the different layers of the Titanic. It's not one we'll necessarily sit down and read verbatim, but it's something we will open up and look at the pictures and look at the different layers of the ship and what was on different levels. I just think it looks really cool to actually see the insides of the Titanic. And then we are into June, and again, I apologize, this is a crazy long video. Looking at my timer now, this clip is already 15 minutes. I think my first clip was like 20 minutes. It's gonna be a long video. I am very sorry, but I'm gonna try to get through this last month really quickly. So this is June, and we are doing pirates. So we are doing the Campfire Curriculum unit on island life with the Pirates of the Caribbean thrown in. They have a Pirates of the Caribbean like mini unit. So we are going to be doing that for our summer unit next year, which I am so excited to do. Quite possibly going to be our last summer here in Florida, or at least our last free summer here in Florida. Presuming, you know, we get orders elsewhere after that. My husband's active duty Navy, if anyone's new here. So since we do live in such close proximity to St. Augustine, we decided to do pirates, and then we can make our field trip for this unit be going to St. Augustine for a long weekend and going on a pirate ship, doing the pirate museum and stuff like that. So we have Edward and the Pirates, which is about a little boy going out with the pirates. Blackbeard, the Pirate King, which is a book about Blackbeard. We have the Magic School Bus Inside a Hurricane, because some of these, like I said, it does go with island life as well. So we have Inside a Hurricane. We have Island Born, which is about a little girl born in the Virgin Islands. We have Pirates Past Noon, which is another Magic Treehouse book. So if we don't like that first one, we might cut this one out, but I'm assuming we're gonna like it at this point. And I have this one over 2 weeks. Basically those same kids, Jack and Annie, travel back in time onto a pirate ship. Then I have If You Were a Kid Surviving a Hurricane. Again, it goes more with the island life, but living in Florida, we do get a lot of hurricanes, so I thought it might actually be useful to do a unit like this in case a hurricane does come that last summer here, or we're stuck here for another 3 years and there's another hurricane. So we decided to do that. And then we got St. Augustine, Places in American History. So we'll probably do this one the week that we go to St. Augustine. And it is just the history of the city through pictures. It was actually written by the city's historical society, and it looks really interesting. Then we have Piratology. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't even looked this one up on Amazon. I'm actually gonna do it right now. This was highly recommended by people in the Campfire Curriculum website when I asked for books to go with this curriculum and which books people use that they thought would be age appropriate for, I guess she'll be 4.5 by that point. People said Piratology, the Pirate Hunter's Companion. Within these pages, you find the Journal of Captain William Luber, an earnest soul who sailed the seas in search of a vicious female pirate named Annabelle Drummond. So it looks like it's actually a pirate hunter journal, which sounds very interesting. So those are all of our read alouds for this school year, 2021 and 2022. Comment down below and tell me what you guys are planning on reading this year. And yeah, do you do this? Do you pick a topic each month, or do you just grab a different book each month? How do you do it, especially if you have older kids? I'm really curious. But like I said, that is it for this video. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. If you are new, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below to see new content every Tuesday and Friday. I forgot what days I have content. Every Tuesday and Friday. And I will see you in my next video on Tuesday, which is actually going to be showing my homeschool mom nighttime routine and what I do to get this room set up at night for the next day. But I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.